what do you think is the most difficult challenge? To me, there's sort of two elements of being a product marketer. There's almost like the technical skills. You can go and learn that to a certain degree, building OKRs and pricing strategies and all this kind of stuff. But then there's the softer skills angle, isn't there? There's because you're product on one side, you've got the board or the leadership team at the top, then you've got the sales and marketing to the other side. You are really in the middle there as a product marketer, I see. So to my mind, some of the softer skills are perhaps the harder things to learn, and what perhaps sets a really good product marketer from a good product marketer.
Listening skills, relationship. I think that, like, if you can listen and connect, that's the most important part. That's also where, like, in really complex organizations like Google, you really need to understand, like, okay, what does the stakeholder landscape look like? Because you have many. I worked on one project where we had more than 50 stakeholders across, there was like 12 or 15 different departments. It's a mess. But if you are able to listen and understand the challenges that each department and incentives that each department has, you're in the best possible solution to connect or position to connect all of these parties. And that's really what your job is like, of course, present all the data, but all the data is also understanding incentive systems across the different stakeholders. So if you can effectively listen to what people are saying, repeat it back to them, and get a yes, that's exactly right, you're also in a better position to connect and say, hey, like, John, this is what Alice is saying, and that actually connects pretty well with what you were trying to do over here. Does that make sense? So that you can constantly create connections across the board with CS, sales, support, engineering, PM, whatever you organizations you deal with in a day-to-day. And that brings everyone closer to each other. And I think you rightfully pointed out, Product Marketing Alliance are doing a course on narrative design. I'd recommend definitely attending that. First, I think Marcus is one of the ones that are running that. And he's doing a great job at, like, telling the importance of narrative. And it does become important, because if you can create a narrative where you connect all of the different stakeholders and present it in a package where all of them can get excited about it, that's where you see movement. Otherwise, you just get an acknowledging nod, and then they go over and do something completely different, which is also important. Like, you need to be aware of when those situations happen, so that you can bring them closer, and ask questions, figure out, like, okay, why is this happening? Is there incentive systems that are not aligned? How can we move forward so that you can also, if it's the case of misaligned incentives, bring in the VPs, C-suite, whatever you need to make sure that, like, okay, we open up that conversation. Here you have a department that's going in this direction, and that's because of this. Here you have a department going in the other direction. And what we really should be doing is turning towards each other and moving in the same direction.
When you start to talk about it, it's no surprise that finding good product marketers is hard, isn't it? So